Imagine waking up from a feverish dream, convinced you're the brother of Jesus Christ, destined to overthrow an empire and purge the world of demons. But what if that delusion sparked one of history's bloodiest conflicts, drowning a nation in rivers of blood and famine? What if one man's mad vision led to the slaughter of millions, turning brother against brother in a frenzy of fanaticism? Today, I bring you the harrowing tale of Xiuquan, the self-proclaimed heavenly king whose Taiping Rebellion ravaged 19th century China. This isn't just a story of rebellion, it's a descent into religious madness, political catastrophe, and unimaginable human suffering, where ambition cloaked in divine purpose unleashed hell on earth. We'll uncover the mysterious visions that drove him, the brutal battles that claimed countless lives, and the tragic downfall that left a scarred legacy. But was Hong a prophet, a madman, or something more sinister? A cautionary tale of unchecked zeal. Stay tuned to uncover the dark truths behind the false messiah who nearly toppled an empire. And if you're hooked on these gripping historical dramas, hit that subscribe button now for more tales of tragedy and terror from the past. Let me set the scene for you in the turbulent world of mid-19th century China, where the Qing dynasty, ruled by the Manchu elite, teetered on the brink of collapse. The empire was reeling from the Opium Wars, with Western powers like Britain forcing open its ports and flooding the land with addictive drugs, crippling the economy and sowing seeds of resentment among the Han Chinese majority. Social unrest simmered in the southern provinces, where poverty, famine, and ethnic tensions between the Hakka minority and locals boiled over into violence. It was a powder keg of political corruption, religious confusion, and moral decay, ripe for a spark from a charismatic visionary or a deluded fanatic. Enter Xiuquan, born on January 1st, 1814, in a humble Hakka farming village in Guangdong province. From a young age, this bright boy was groomed by his family to excel in the grueling imperial examinations, the gateway to bureaucratic power and prestige in Confucian China. But fate had other plans. Hong failed the exams repeatedly in 1828, 1836, and again in 1837, each defeat chipping away at his sanity. After that third failure, he suffered a nervous breakdown, plunging into a delirium of vivid hallucinations. In these visions, he ascended to heaven, met a golden-bearded father figure who lamented humanity's worship of demons, and an elder brother who instructed him to slay evil with a divine sword. "All human beings in the whole world are produced and sustained by me," the father declared in Hong's recounting. "They eat my food and wear my clothing, but not a single person among them has a heart to remember and venerate me." He even witnessed the punishment of Confucius for misleading the people. For years, these dreams haunted him. But in 1843, after failing the exams for the fourth time, Hong revisited a Christian pamphlet titled "Good Words to Admonish the Age," handed to him by a missionary years earlier. Suddenly, it all clicked. The father was God, the brother was Jesus, and he, Xiuquan, was God's second son, tasked with eradicating demon worship, embodied by the Manchu Qing rulers and their Confucian idols. As a contemporary missionary letter from Issachar Roberts noted, Hong's interpretation twisted Christianity into a militant call to arms, blending it with Chinese folk beliefs. Let's debunk a common myth right here. Hong wasn't some isolated lunatic. His ideas were shaped by real encounters with Western missionaries and the era's religious tracts, though he warped them into something uniquely destructive. From his early life, signs of doom were clear. Ambition thwarted by failure, fueling a divine madness that would soon ignite a nation. Now picture this, a growing band of fervent believers armed with makeshift weapons and unshakable faith, rising from the rural shadows to challenge an ancient empire. Hong's ascent began in earnest after his 1843 epiphany. He smashed Confucian idols in his village temple, losing his teaching job but gaining converts among family and friends. With his comrade Feng Yunshan, he traveled to Guangxi province in 1844, preaching his gospel and drafting tracts like exhortations to worship the one true God. There, Feng founded the Society of God Worshippers, a millenarian sect that fused Hong's Christian visions with anti-Manchu sentiment, promising equality, communal land, and an end to oppression. By 1847, after briefly studying the Bible with American missionary Issachar Roberts in Guangzhou, who later described Hong as bent on making their burlesque religious pretensions serve their political purpose, Hong rejoined the group, now swelling to thousands amid famines and local feuds. Tensions escalated as Qing authorities cracked down on the heretical sect. In 1850, with 10,000 to 30,000 followers, Hong mobilized them into a rebel army. The spark came at Jintian village on January 11, 1851, when they routed Qing forces in a surprise uprising. Hong proclaimed the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom, declaring himself the Heavenly King, with his lieutenants like Yang Xiuqan and Xiao Chaogui claiming to channel God and Jesus. "I am the second son of God," Hong announced in his imperial decrees, vowing to establish a theocratic utopia. The rebels marched north, breaking sieges and capturing cities with fanatical zeal. In September 1851, they seized Xiuquan, where Hong formalized his kingdom's structure, banning opium, foot-binding, and polygamy, except for himself, of course. By June 1852, after a bloody retreat at Soyi Ford that cost 20% of their troops, they pressed into Hunan, besieging Changsha but failing, then capturing Wuhan in early 1853. The air was thick with fear as Taiping forces, now over 1 million strong, swept down the Yangtze River. In March 1853, they stormed Nanjing, slaughtering its Manchu garrison in a horrific massacre. Men beheaded, women burned alive, as Hong declared it the heavenly capital, Tianjin. From there, the Taipings launched expeditions. A northern push toward Beijing faltered in 1855, while western campaigns secured territories. Hong implemented radical reforms, women's equality in the army, communal property, a new calendar, drawing admiration from some but alienating Confucian elites. Yet cracks appeared. Internal rivalries simmered, culminating in the 1856 Tianjin incident. Yang Xiuqan, grown arrogant and challenging Hong's authority by speaking as God, was murdered on Hong's orders, along with 20,000 followers. As Qing records grimly recount, Wei Changhui, the assassin, was then executed, and General Shu Dakai fled in horror, his family slaughtered. This purge weakened the movement, but the Taipings rebounded, defeating sieges in 1860 and ravaging Jiangsu and Zhejiang. Why did this happen? Hong's vision, born of personal failure and cultural clash, tapped into widespread discontent. But his fanaticism bred paranoia and division. The impacts were devastating. Provinces laid waste, economies shattered, as battles and famines claimed lives by the millions. Imagine the smoke-filled battlefields, the cries of the dying, visuals of tattered banners, and ruined cities would capture this chaos perfectly for our video. If you're gripped by this tale of rise and ruin, consider supporting the channel on Patreon for exclusive behind-the-scenes content. It helps me bring more of these stories to life. The tension builds to a shattering peak as the heavenly kingdom crumbles under its own weight and the relentless Qing onslaught. By 1860, despite early victories like breaking the Nanjing siege, the Taipings faced mounting pressure from reformed Qing armies led by Zheng Guofan and aided by Western mercenaries like Charles Gordon's ever-victorious army. Hong, increasingly isolated in his opulent palace, surrounded by concubines and issuing erratic proclamations, refused to heed warnings. As famine gripped Tianjin in 1863 to 1864, with residents resorting to eating grass and rats, Hong declared divine weeds, manna, as sustenance, but they proved poisonous. His health deteriorated in April 1864 amid the final siege. Witnesses in missionary letters described a city in despair, streets littered with corpses from starvation and bombardment. Hong fell gravely ill possibly from ingesting those toxic plants or deliberate poison. Historians debate if it was suicide to escape capture. In his final days, he named his 15-year-old son, Hong Tianguifu, as successor, a tragic handover to an unprepared boy. On June 1st, 1864, Hong died, his body wrapped in yellow silk and buried near the old Ming palace. But the horror didn't end there. Qing forces breached the walls on July 19, 1864, in the Third Battle of Nanjing, unleashing a bloodbath. Over 100,000 Taipings chose mass suicide over surrender, leaping into flames or drowning in the Yangtze, their screams echoing through the ruined city. Hong's corpse was exhumed, beheaded, and cremated, his ashes blasted from a cannon to prevent any cult revival. A gruesome desecration symbolizing the empire's vengeance. Was his death fate's cruel irony or the inevitable end of a mad dream? Primary sources like Li Xiuqing's deposition, a captured Taiping general, paint a picture of delusion. The heavenly king believed God would defend the city, but reality proved otherwise. The slow siege built unbearable tension, with betrayal, starvation, and fanaticism colliding in a tragic crescendo that sealed the rebellion's doom. The echoes of Hong Xiuquan's madness reverberate through history, a stark reminder of how one man's delusion can devastate millions. The Taiping Rebellion claimed an estimated 20 to 30 million lives through savage battles, widespread famine, and disease, making it one of the deadliest conflicts ever, dwarfing even the American Civil War. It critically weakened the Qing dynasty, accelerating its decline and paving the way for the 1911 revolution that ended imperial rule. Hong's radical ideas, gender equality, land reform, influenced later movements, with both Chinese communists and nationalists claiming inspiration from the Taipings. Yet, modern views often romanticize or vilify him. Hollywood and pop culture get it wrong by portraying Hong as a mere rebel hero, ignoring the theocratic tyranny and mass slaughters. In reality, his regime enforced draconian morals, segregating sexes and purging dissenters. As Qing chronicles attest, the rebellion erased heritage, destroying ancient temples and libraries in a frenzy against demons. In my opinion, Hong's story teaches the perils of unchecked fanaticism, where religious zeal blinds leaders to human cost. What do you think? Was he a visionary reformer or a destructive cult leader? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your take on this dark chapter. In the end, Hong Xiuquan's tragic madness, a blend of divine vision and ruthless ambition, drowned China in blood, a horrific reminder that fanaticism unchecked can shatter nations. Yet, from this catastrophe rose lessons in resilience, as China endured and evolved. Thanks for joining me on this journey through history's shadows. Keep learning and questioning the past. If this video gripped you, like it to spread the word, subscribe for more dramatic tales of royal tragedies and mysterious fates, and comment your favorite shocking fact. Check out my playlist on 19th century rebellions